Yes, we could speak about the Bhagavad Gita the whole of our life without repeating the same concept twice. But I think that at the end of this classes, we are going to have an idea of the main philosophical principles of the Bhagavad Gita. It's very important because the Bhagavad Gita is the base of our philosophy. And today, well, especially in the 18th chapter, we are going to resume the main concept, and then we are going to start the Srimad Bhagavatam unless you decide differently. And then the Srimad Bhagavatam is going to be a lot of fun because it's more in depth. There are concepts that you don't find in the Bhagavad Gita. But again, the Bhagavad Gita is the base. You cannot build a house if first you don't build a fundament. Bhagavad Gita is the philosophical fundament of the Vedic principle. So we are going to offer our humble obeisances to our spiritual masters, and in particular to Srila Prabhupada. This is something that we must do and we like to do every time. So, Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadada Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare. So now we are going to read and explain 3 verses from the 16th chapter. And these 3 verses are very important from all those of you who repeatedly ask me the same question, which is good. It's nothing bad to repeat the same questions. But I receive these questions, an average of 1 time every week for the last 48 hours, for 48 years. I've been a devotee. So it's nice to have different verses to explain a concept which is very vast. It's not, there is no a single answer to this question. And this question is, how can I recognize spiritual advancement? How can I recognize if a devotee is advanced or not? How can I recognize if I am doing some spiritual advancement? And my answer normally is, you read the scriptures. In the scripture, there are lists, in plural, lists of qualities. And you just go one by one and see, okay, this is a quality of an advanced devotee. Do I have this quality? Or how much I have this quality? Yesterday, I didn't have this quality. Now, maybe a little bit. And day by day, and month by month, year by year, we see that these qualities become more and more prominent in our nature. That's why transcendental knowledge is so important. It is important because we know. And when you know, you are less afraid. You live more, more peacefully. Just like yesterday, I was driving here in the city where I didn't stay for 10 years. And so I didn't know, because the highway, I don't know when is the moment to go right, to go left. the other cars, they were speeding and I didn't know. After 8 months living here, now I know. I know when it is a moment to go right, so I can get out of the right exit. But the first weeks, they were uncomfortable. So this is human life. Human life, if you don't know, you are uncomfortable. You don't know. You don't know what is right. You don't know what is wrong. Sometimes people come in our temples and they say, oh, I didn't know that eating meat is bad. Oh, I didn't know that for my spiritual life. Oh, I didn't know that smoking cigarettes or taking drugs, it was so bad, because nobody told me. So knowledge means I will tell you. Then if you want to follow, good for you. If you don't, bad for you. But at least I told you. I told you, no, don't do this. Or I told you, yes, do this. So it is very important to know these qualities. And we are going to now, excuse me. Now we are going to give this list, which is a long list of qualities of someone who is spiritually advanced. The first quality is fearlessness. Fearlessness. Abhayam. Abhayam means to be without fear. So why an advanced devotee has no fear? Why? Well, we know who we are. We know that we are not the body. We are the spirit soul. So what can harm a spirit soul? In the second chapter, we spent quite some time describing the nature of spirit soul. And we saw that the spirit soul is eternal, cannot be cut, cannot be burned, cannot be harmed. There is nothing you can do to a spirit soul. You can do a lot of things to the body. The body can get sick. The body can be cut. The body can be harmed. But there is nothing you can do against the spirit soul. So this is very important, that we remember, I'm not the material body, I am the spirit soul. And once this consciousness has become rooted in our way of thinking, it shouldn't be just a concept, just a good, a nice philosophical idea that we hear, but becomes part of our nature. When we think, when we do things in our life, then we should remember, I'm not this body, I am a spirit soul. So things will happen in our life. We can get sick. Yes, we can become, we will become old. If we are lucky, we become old. And we will die. There is no doubt we will die, sure as death. And but someone who is spiritually advanced doesn't really care what happens, because he knows all bad things pertain to the body and not to the soul. And he knows, I am the soul. If he lives as a spirit soul, then he has no fear. If he think or remember this concept, but then he lives as a body, oh yes, I'm a man, oh yes, I'm a woman, then I want to enjoy whatever I can do with my male or female body. And I'm young, I am rich, I am this, I'm white, I'm black, whatever, and we enjoy the body, then we have all reasons to have fear, because things will happen to the body. So fearlessness, or abhayam in Sanskrit, that is a quality for someone who is spiritually advanced. Then purification of one's existence. Purification of one's existence means, since I am a spirit soul, I'm going to dedicate my life for spiritual advancement. I'm not going to waste time looking for money or whatever human life can offer you. I'm going to choose the best way to invest my time of human life. The difference between a man and an animal is that the animal has no intelligence. A man, it is, or is supposed to be, at least we have the tool to understand. So the best, if I have $1, I'm going to think what is the best way to invest this dollar. Then what is the best way to spend my life? My life, it's very precious. I'm going to invest it for spiritual knowledge, for spiritual realization. And then cultivation of spiritual knowledge is one of the things that all intelligent and advanced devotee they will do. So an advanced devotee is someone who dedicates his life to this goal. Then charity. Charity, yes, you should give money to the temple, you should give money to the devotees, but charity is not just about giving money, but charity means something that you have. So this is, we call it devotional service. If you have intelligence, then give your intelligence. If you have time, give your time. If you have anything in your possession, then give it for spiritual advancement, and this is charity. Okay. Then self-control. What is self-control? Self-control means deciding how I'm going to speak, how I'm going to think, how I'm going to feel, how I'm going to react to the things that happen in my life. This is self-control. Self-control means I am going to decide how I'm going to speak, what I'm going to say, I decide. So who is this I deciding? That's called buddhi. Buddhi means intelligence. Mind and intelligence are two different things. Intelligence is analytical. Mind is, how you say that in English? It's something that reacts without thinking it over. How you say? Help me.
Impulsive?
Impulsive. Yeah, maybe impulsive. You know, something happened, I react immediately, like this. This is the mind, because the mind is very near to the senses. So the senses touch, see, or smell, and all these experiences go to the mind. And the mind decide what I like, not what is right. I like because this particular sense had a very good experience with this thing. So next time I come near to something similar, I will immediately react, yes, I like it. Yes, I will touch this. Yes, I will smell that. Yes, I will hear that. There is no consideration. The mind cannot consider, cannot analyze. Buddhi intelligence is a different type of tool that we have. And with intelligence, you should decide what is right and what is wrong, independently if you like it or not. You may not like it, okay? But if it is right, you should do it. So this is how you become self-control. Self-control means intelligence, and how you develop a strong intelligence by studies and by practicing. Study the philosophy, study the scripture, and practicing the principles of devotional life. Performance of sacrifice is another item. And performance, what is a sacrifice? Sacrifice is something that is done for someone else's pleasure. It's a very, how you say, vast field. Is that correct? Vast field?
Vague.
Wide, maybe? Wide field. Right. So sacrifice, for instance, you chant your rounds. You may not like it today to chant your rounds. You may prefer to something else, but you have been instructed to do it, and you do it. You should do it. If you have decided to, if you have an altar in your house, then every day you should do something. you should offer some incense or some water. Never offer incense without the water. We should a little flour with an incense and some water. Very simple. It takes 1 minute. Okay. Then this is very important. Study of the Vedas means studying of the scriptures. You should every day, you should read. Read and study are two different things. Read means just reading, studying means to understand. So how you can understand if you are more newer, more neophyte, and you don't, you are not able still to understand, then you write down, just like I can see Bhatta Andy is doing something with his hands, probably is writing something. This is what everybody should do. Should write. You study, you don't understand, you write down, you question, and then your question, you put it to the spiritual master or the senior devotee, and you put the question. It's very important to make questions. All scriptures are being written on the base of someone putting questions and someone answering. There is no philosophy there is no treatise of philosophy without questions, because if you don't understand what people need to hear, then you feel uneasy speaking. That's why it's so important to have somebody. Personally, I have problems in giving classes just in video conference or without nobody, and I need somebody, because I need to look at the face, and by looking at the face of the people, I can see if he's listening, if he's not falling asleep, if he likes it, what I'm saying. Maybe I should say something else. Maybe I should say it in a different way. Not always you understand it, but just by looking at the face. But it's important. It's important to look. That's why we like that people turn on the camera in such a way we can look at the face and see who is listening. Okay, then study of the Vedas, austerity. Austerity means doing something that you don't like, but it's right to do. You may today, again, you may not like it to chant your rounds today, but you do it. You do it, it's an austerity. Spiritual life is not based on something that you like it always, but you accept it and you do it anyway. Simplicity means don't try to do things too complicated. Just keep it simple. Chant your round, study the scriptures, and do devotional service. This kind of things. Non-violence. A devotee is non-violent. Means not eating meat. First of all, we are vegetarian. We should be vegetarian. We should not eat any meat. This is not good. And of course, we are not violent with nobody, with anybody. We are not supposed to kill anyone or beating anyone. The devotee is very non-violent. Truthfulness. Truthfulness means to say the right thing, not always not to lie. Truthfulness means talk about Krishna. This is the truth. Then freedom from anger. If you are very attached to external things, you will get angry. But if you are already full within yourself and you're very satisfied of your life, and you study a lot and you chant your rounds, that you don't care about what happened outside you. And renunciation. There are two ways to renounce. One, nature will make you renounce with time. Now we are very attached to our home and family. Old age will come, death will come, and you will lose everything. This is one type of renunciation. So if you want to live a life knowing that everything that you are amassing with such an effort, you are going to lose it. This is not a very intelligent way of living. Then, or you can start to renounce something. Renunciation is very good for our life. Tranquility, you get very tranquil if you are happy inside. If you need external things, you're not tranquil, because these things are very difficult to get, very difficult to maintain. Aversion to fault finding means that, well, it's very clear by itself, you know, especially we live in very much in connection with other devotees. We sometimes have the tendency to find fault. Oh, he said that, this is wrong, he does that, this is, of course we should, something is wrong, you know, but we should not waste too much time over that. That person did something wrong, it's wrong. That's it, finished. You don't need to, unless you have the service to elaborate. Like a temple president or a spiritual master, this is their job. This is what they have to do. Okay, compassion for more living entities, what it means. Well, today I was driving and I saw some very young boy, maybe 20 years old, and he was evidently under the influence of some kind of drug. He couldn't stand up. Have you seen those drug addicts who cannot, they always, almost fall down, they never fall, it's incredible, they never do. So, and he was asking for money. Nobody was giving money, of course, because it's, you know, we are not in a poor country. We are in the US. It's very easy to find jobs, you know, here. So it is evident that people, most of the people, were thinking, well, if you want money, go get a job. Well, so what is the best way to help this person? You should give him a different goal of life. So he will, you have to tell him about Krishna. Then you will see that he will stop taking drugs. Freedom from covetousness. Yeah, we should not amass too much money. If we are rich, yes, that's good. You know, give money to Krishna, to the temple, to some project. Don't keep too much for you. I just published today an article on Rupa Goswami. You saw how Rupa Goswami was a very rich man, and he gave all this money to everybody. Gentleness, the devotee is very gentle. Gentle means there are several ways of saying things, and the best way is to be gentle. You don't need to be harsh with other people. Modesty, yeah, the devotee is modest. Steady determination means once you take a vow, you keep it. Maybe difficult sometimes, you keep it. Vigor means you should chant your round, no sleepy. You should be vigorous. Forgiveness is someone who does something for you, you should forgive him. Of course, you don't tell him, yes, you were right when he was wrong. But at least if he did or said something wrong, you should forgive it. For the cleanliness, cleanliness is important. There are different things that we should keep clean. The mind should be clean. It means we should think to philosophy, to spiritual principles, or all this. Then our speaking should be cleaned. We should not speak bad words. Some time ago, someone told, what is the difference? It's just a word, you know? It does a sound. What is the difference between what you call a bad word and a nice word? It's a word. No, it's not. It's not. By culture, we attach some mood to every word. a bad word, we charge it in our experience, in our thinking, with some negative impression. And when you say that word convey this negativity, and it's not good. So we should be cleaned when we speak. We should be very gentle and very noble in our way we speak. And cleanliness, of course, our body should be cleaned. We should take 1 or 2 showers every day. We should change our clothes every day. We should not use the yesterday clothes or things like that. We almost finished. Freedom from envy. Well, someone is envious when he thinks I'm missing something. Then I see somebody who has these things, so I'm envious. I want those things because we think that we can be happy if we have those other things. But the person who has them is not happy. Nobody's happy in this world. So there is nothing to be envy about. You just be happy with whatever you get, be a devotee and live for Krishna consciousness. And then passion and freedom from the passion, from honor. Being a devotee of Krishna, people respect you. People respect you. They respect you because there is some sanctity in the life, in the words, in the activity of a devotee. But becoming attached to this respect is very, very dangerous. So we should keep humble. Today I was explaining one verse of the writing, one verse of the Mahabharata. The Mahabharata, 100,000 verses, a big one, the encyclopedia, the Mahabharata. And Sutta Goswami, who is one of the main personality of this encyclopedia, he was a guru. There were hundreds, there were thousands of great sages, Rishi, Brahmachi, and Devas, listening to him. So he had all reasons to feel proud. He was sitting on the Vyasasana, higher than everybody, and everybody else, even older than him, listening to him and making questions to him, etc. But this verse, this specific verse, felt the need to say that Sutta Goswami arrived in great humility. You are writing the Mahabharata, so why you need to specify such a detail? Because it is important. If it was not important, then Vyasadeva would not have wasted his time to specify. The Sutta Goswami arrived to Namisharanya very, very humbly. And he was invited to sit on the higher seat of the guru or the spiritual master, but he kept very, very, very humble. So this is very important. Okay, so this is a list, quite a long list of very good qualities, and now we are going to study the qualities of bad people. Here, saying asuran, they are called asura, demons. So let's see how we can recognize demons. Pride, a demon is very proud. Oh, I am very important. Oh, I am very rich. Oh, I'm very intelligent. Oh, I'm very this and that. Someone who speaks in that way is a demon. Arrogance. Arrogance means I am right, you are wrong. And this is bad. Conceit, I don't know what it means in English. Let me take shelter of Google Translate. Okay, being conceit means well, this is more or less like arrogant, to think that I know more than you. That's anger. someone who is not spiritually advanced, you can see it, that when put in a difficult situation, he gets angry and he becomes harsh. He speaks harshly. He thinks, he acts harshly. This is demoniac. And ignorance means that he doesn't know. He doesn't know what is what. He just acts in a very, what is this word that we used before? In a very spontaneous way. Very impulsive way, because he's angry. Someone is angry doesn't think. So it's very important to cultivate knowledge. So let's go to the number 5. The transcendental qualities are conducive to liberation, whereas the demonic qualities make you stay in this material world. And Krishna said to Arjuna, do not worry, you're not a demon. He said that because Arjuna probably was worried. But he was a kshatriya. He was a warrior. A warrior must fight. And when you fight, you cannot fight smiling. So Arjuna, you fight, you kill people. When you kill people, you must be very vigorous. And Krishna says, no, you're not a demon. You kill people, but you're not demoniac. And Krishna says, in this world, there are 2 types of persons. One is divine, and the other one is demoniac. And now Krishna is going to explain more about the demoniac qualities. Demons do not know. They have no knowledge. They don't know what is right, and they don't know what is wrong. Just like I made a stupid example of me driving the first days, and I came back here and I didn't know where to go right to exit the right exit of the highway. So I was there a little in anxiety. So while I was in anxiety, I was thinking, this is exactly what Krishna is talking about in the Bhagavad Gita. When you don't know, you're in anxiety. So if someone would cut me off, I may get angry. I said, what do you do that? No, because I didn't know that there was what should I have done? So demons, they do not know what is right and what is wrong. They are not cleaned. They don't wash themselves. They don't think to Krishna. They don't proper behavior. No any truth is found in them. And they say that this world is unreal. This is what the demons say. The demons say there is a philosophy. There are various philosophies who say actually this world is not real. You do not exist. I do not exist. It's all an illusion. There is no God, of course. Or if there is God, then he's a light, or is, as one religion says, a triangle, with some light coming, with a dog flying there, these kind of things, because they do not know how God is, what is his body. So this is demoniac. If you don't know, don't say something that you don't know. When you don't know something, you say, I don't know. I don't know how God is. So why should I invent that God is a triangle, or that God is a light, or that God is a void? They say that everything that is in this material world is just matter. Everything is produced of sex desire, and there's no cause other than lust. So how do we live in this world? This world is characterized by lust, attraction to sex. And this is how all of us were born. Without sex attraction, nobody of us were now living. I always thought, I was trying to imagine, if what world was without sex attraction? How many men would actually make children if there were no sex attraction? How many? Not many. because you have to take care of somebody for 20 years. It's not like everything is okay, and for what? It doesn't give you anything for at least 20 years, and in many cases they never give you anything back. So sex attraction is what Srila Prabhupada says that is the pivot of all material activities, and the devas has filled up this stupid thing, because it is a stupid thing, with such an energy, just because they need it for reproduction. So they put inside some useless thing with a lot of energy, so that reproduction will go on. But here Krishna says that a demon thinks this way. Actually, the material world is not the real world. We are from the spiritual world, not the material world. And following such conclusion, the demoniac people who have no intelligence engage in beneficial, horrible works meant to destroy the world. And this is something very, I say that in English, something that we can experience today, in these days. Something, help me.
There is something common?
Yeah, something that we experience in these days, especially when it seems that someone started to understand. It was very difficult to understand that all these disasters have one main cause, which is man activities. Men, they cause. I was living in an island in the Caribbean, and there were many hurricanes. And in the country where I was born, there still are a lot of earthquakes, and then this, and then the air pollution, and then the viruses, and everything is man-born. Has been caused by man. It's not. This is not the world is not so bad, but people do not understand, and they think that they can do anything they want, and everything will continue. So here, prabhavanti ugra karmanaha. Ugra karma. Ugra karma means terrible activities. They take oil and they burn the fossil, the gases in the air and everything, and then they think that everything will continue. All these terrible diseases are man created. Number 10, that demons taking shelter in insatiable lust and absorbed in the concept of pride, false prestige, the demoniac, the illusion, all is sworn to unclean work, attracted by the impermanent. And this is another way of saying what we have been saying until now. Now, here Krishna continues describing the demoniac mentality. They believe that to gratify the senses is the prime necessity of human civilization. Thus, until the end of life, their anxiety is unmeasurable. How can you be happy with something that you will finish? How can you must, someone, it's just like if I give you a very nice house, but I will give it right on the bank of the ocean, or how can you be happy? You know that just a question of time, water will wash it away. And someone to be happy with material things must be really stupid. Bound by a network of hundreds of thousands of desires and absorbed in lust and anger, they secure money by legal means for sense gratification. Then verse 15, I continue the description of demoniac mentality. The verse 16, thus perplexed by various anxieties, a bound or a network illusion, they become too strongly attached to sense enjoyment and fall down in hell. Okay, so the more we are attached to sensual activities, the more we become unhappy. 17, self-complacent and always impudent, deluded by wealth and false prestige, they sometimes proudly perform sacrifices in name only, without following any rules or regulations. He is talking about false religions. False religions, like I have Jesus Christ in my heart. I speak about that because I was born there. If I was born somewhere else, I would talk about something. But it's written. In what part of the Holy Scriptures are written that you can do anything you want because I have Christ in my heart? Now, this is very hypocritical. It doesn't mean anything. This is not philosophy. It's not religion. This is just poetry. The difference between poetry and philosophy is that philosophy describes a truth and poetry describes an emotion. And an emotion is very far from truth. Bewildered by false ego, strength, pride, lust, and anger, the demons become envious of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is situated in their own bodies and in the bodies of others, and blaspheme against the real religion. This is very subtle. It's not people as envy towards God, but to understand how it is so, it's not difficult to explain it, because someone has to be very, very sincere to accept that when someone says there is no God, means that he's envious of God, because it's not possible that there is no God. It is impossible. God's presence is proved by creation. We included. Nothing is sorry. Just like you have never seen a house coming out by itself, but you know if there is a house, someone must have built it. There is nothing who comes out by itself. So how it is possible that the most difficult creation, which is the universe and life and everything, came out from nothing? This is very, very illogical. And someone who accepts such an idea is just envious. He's envious of God. So he says, no, there is no God. Why there is no God? Because I don't see it. You don't even see what is behind your head. How can you rule out that something you don't see exists? So the senses are not the right. Intelligence is better than the senses to understand if God exists. But if you're not intelligent, that you cannot understand it. So we are almost finished this chapter. Prepare your questions. Those who are envious and mischievous, those who are lowest among men, I, Krishna says, perpetually cast into the ocean of material existence, into various demoniac species of life, attaining repeated births among the species of demoniac life, or son of Kunti. Such person can never approach me. Gradually, they sink down to the most abominable type of existence. Just give a look around you, and you see what it would mean to become a tree, or become an insect, or become a cockroach. There are terrible bodies, and you can enter into those bodies. There is nothing you can do there. Until you are a man, you have some hope that you understand philosophy, you understand Krishna consciousness. But if you become an animal or a vegetable, then there is no, you have no hope. 21, there are 3 gates leading to this service. This is very important. Lust. What is lust? Lust means physical, sensual desire, not physical, sensual desire. Sensual desire is not just physical, it's also psychological. I want something for me, for my enjoyment. This is lust. Anger. Anger means you are unhappy and you become angry. That's because you are not satisfied. Someone who is satisfied never becomes happy. Someone satisfied never become angry. And greed means I am lusty. I want things. Whether I obtain it or not, I will become angry. Because if I attain it, I'm afraid to lose it. If I don't attain it, I'm angry because I cannot get it. So greed means I want something because I want to be happy. You're never happy because nothing material can make you happy. Any sane man should give this up, for they lead to the degradation of the soul. 22. The man who has escaped these 3 gates of hell perform acts conducive to self-realization, thus gradually attain the supreme destination. We have spoken a lot about what should be done for spiritual advancement in this verse. Maybe we can say something more after. He who discards scriptural injunctions and acts according to his own whims attains neither perfection nor happiness nor the supreme. This is important. If you don't know, you have some excuse. Of course, the excuse is not to do the right thing. I don't know. Well, actually, this is half an excuse, because if you don't know, because you have not earned it. If to earn something, you have to do something to earn it. If you don't get it, it's because you don't deserve it. There is no victim in this world. Something always comes by personal effort. But when you know, you should make some special effort to do the right thing and to avoid the mistakes. Otherwise, you don't advance, or you advance slowly. You know, it's not that until we are perfect we don't advance. There is no black and white. There is a lot of degree of gray. So if you do some mistake, knowing that it's a mistake, but you don't have the strength to avoid doing it because you just like it, okay? Then you still advance in spiritual life, because maybe you are reading Bhagavad Gita, chanting Hare Krishna, doing devotional service, and this is good, but you are slower, you advance slowly. And happiness, until real happiness, complete happiness, only pure devotee is completely happy. Until someone is still has some attachment to this material world, there is some unhappiness. So last verse, we arrived at the end of this 16th chapter. One should therefore understand what is duty and what is not duty by the regulations of the scripture. Knowing such rules or regulation, one should act so that it may gradually be elevated. So we have 2 types of scriptures. One is the book, and the other one is the spiritual master, the guru. The guru is the living book. So one should study in the book and from the book and from the living book. Both should be there. If you just study the book, how are you going to have your questions answered? You cannot ask a book. You know, the book is not a person. But you should have the guru, the person, so that if you have some question, he will answer. So there is the Bhagavad, the book Bhagavata, and there is the person Bhagavata. And we are going to read this from the Srimad Bhagavatam in a few weeks. Okay, so we have read and explained the 24 verses of the 16th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. So now we have some time for questions. And before, I want to say two things. We come to give these conferences. There is some. You should also make some effort. Not only coming to listen, but actively participating by writing down questions before or during the conference, so that you do some service. This is service, helping the conference to be more interesting. Before leaving you to the questions, I have a couple of announcements to do, very important. I'm very happy today. And I will show you what happened. Do you recognize this? Okay. It's a hardcover. This is the Mahabharata with the hardcover. Okay. So Amazon finally now is publishing books in a hardcover. And this is very important. It wasn't doing it before. So we can, when we publish our books, we have also, we are going to have the hardcover. And another very happy announcement is that my next book is ready. It's in Italian, though. It's a Radha Krishna Ganodesha Deepika in Italian. It's already in the process of publishing. So in 1 week or 10 days, maybe 2 weeks, depending from Amazon, this book will be published. Of course, you have this book in English and in... who read this book? Raise your hand. Radha Krishna Ganodesha Deepika, Bhakti Rosario, you read it? You read it? Bhatta Andy, you read it?
We have it. I haven't read it yet, though.
Okay, but it's there. It's in your bookshelf. Okay, Yolanda, who knows? Bhatta Michael, did you read this book? No, you should. Okay, so I think that this is announced. I had these two announcements, a very happy announcement. One was the hardcover of my books, and my next book in Italian language, and we are in the next, and the Mahabharata in English. It's I think. But Bhakta Andy, how much you're missing with the Mahabharata in English?
About 25 pages.
25 pages. Means how many days, weeks, months?
I'm hoping in the next no more than 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Okay. But Rosario, how much? It's
I am just checking the last time, going over from the beginning to the end, and for that I'm missing just a few pages.
in English.
Well, the English version is done.
It's done.
For the volume 1, yes.
Done.
So I already did that. I'm just giving the final look at the Spanish version.
So then we are just waiting for Bhatta Andy to finish in a couple of weeks, and then there will be a lot of work on my part, correcting.
And then from there, I will begin checking the Spanish version, the volume 2.
The Spanish version.
Yes, which will not take so long because it will be, we will have the corrections made by Bhakti Andy.
Great. Okay, now I I'm writing in Italian now, and the reason is that although it's not the language that I prefer in writing books, because I don't read anything in Italian, you know, I read only English. But my English has been a little bit ruined by living almost 15 years in Spanish-speaking countries. And that means that my Spanish isn't very good, my English is not very good either, my Italian is totally ruined. I don't know what language it is. But, you know, it's maybe, yeah, I should write, maybe I should start reading something in Italian, write in Italian, and then I hope that you help me. But in Rosario, anyone who wants to help with our publication, please present yourself, raise your hand. I want to do something. And of course, I understand that you are busy people, you know, it took a long time for this Mahabharata, but you should not feel guilty because you have a job, you have a family, you have a son, and you have a lot of things. So I understand it. So anyone else who wants to help, I got work for 50 people for publishing, you know, in English and in Spanish and in Italian. Okay, so please, now is the time of your questions. Yes. Mati Rosario.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj. I have a question about people who have the demoniac qualities, like pride, arrogance, all those terrible qualities. Do those people have hopes to get out of that vicious circle?
Well, everything starts from desire. What do you want? What do you want from your life?
Mm-hmm.
You know, the way a demoniac person, demoniac means bad person or someone who is materialistic.
Mm-hmm.
So in this material world, there is something called suffering or some sadness or some bitterness in living life. And this bitterness makes people think, maybe something is wrong because I'm not happy. I am getting money, I have a family, I am young, and this and that, I'm not happy. So this is how Krishna helps demoniac people, materialistic people to change their consciousness. One day, those who are demoniac or asuric qualities, by thinking there is something wrong because I'm not happy, they will start desiring. This is called Shraddha in Sanskrit, a desire. And this desire is inside the heart. The person think, I'm not happy. So what's going on? Why? I want to understand why not. Then Krishna is present in his heart, and then he will arrange. When is the right time? He will arrange. He will arrange what? Coming in contact with devotees, sadhu sangha, coming in contact with holy books, coming in contact with holy people, and then that is the beginning of the road back to Godhead. There is no such a thing as eternal hell. There is no such a thing. Two eternals cannot exist. Either you are an eternal spirit soul, or you are eternal, or you are in an eternal hell. Two eternal cannot coexist. So living a materialistic life or going to hell, etc., this is never eternal. You may stay in those conditions for a long time, but not eternal. So after some time, you become desirous. That's correct in English. Desirous. You be
Desirous?
desirous.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, desirous or something different. Krishna is present in our heart and gives you the opportunity. And if you want to take it, and if you don't want, you don't take it. That's up to you. It's not forced. You are never forced. Just like we'll see in the 18th chapter. We'll see this chapter in 2 weeks, only 2 weeks, where Krishna says, I told you the Bhagavad Gita, now do what you want. Can you follow? Krishna says to Arjuna, Krishna is God. He doesn't say to Arjuna, you must do what I say because I am God. No. He says, do what you want. Why? Because there is always freedom. I say that in English, the libre albedrío.
Free will.
Free will. It's always free will. We eternally have free will. Even in the spiritual world, there is free will. If we want to, can come. We will not come back. But if we want, we could come back from the spiritual world because there is free will. So you, Krishna said to Arjuna, do what you want. But better we listen to the Bhagavad Gita. We better do that.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj.
I have a question, but it's kind of like Andy said before we started, from left field, kind of out of there. How do we listen to God? Like, how do we know what is Krishna and what is just us making stuff up in our head? Like, how do we know how to listen?
A very good question. Yes. Well, it is not possible. You cannot. You cannot know what is you making stuff and what is God, because to because to understand, to divide what is good and what is bad, or what comes from God or what comes from somewhere else, it takes a lot of purity of analysis, a lot of purity of understanding. And this is a capacity of only pure devotees who knows how to diversify. There is one very nice example in the scripture, that is the example of the swan. If you throw some milk in the water, a swan will be able to drink the milk without drinking water. Yes, his capacity. It has some kind of chemical capacity that the swan has in his mouth. So this is why the devotees dress white, because white means a swan. The devotees are supposed to be swans and divide between matter and spirit. So, but it is licit for you to want to understand when Krishna talks to you. Yes, it's very licit. You should have this desire, but the process is another one. The process, the right process, is not to say, okay, today I listen to 5 things, and I want to understand this one of these 5, it comes from God. You'll never be able to understand it. That's why God, who knows this impossibility that we have, he manifests his words outside. Just like there are 2 types of different types of gurus, but of spiritual masters. One is called Chaitya Guru. Chaitya means eternal. It is in your heart. Krishna is in your heart, and he speaks. But since he understands that you cannot listen to him, if not partially, then he comes outside. It takes the form of books like the Vedas, the Bhagavad Gita, the Srimad Bhagavatam, or take the form of a guru, of a spiritual master. The spiritual master in flesh is very important because he can speak to you. He can answer to your questions where the book cannot. So if you want to know what Krishna says, then you should read his books and you should listen to the persons who are representing. This is the right way. Thank you. Okay, more. We have some 10, 15 minutes more. Martin, Rosalind.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. Please accept my humble obeisances. I'd like to go back to text 20 and talk a little bit more about the demoniacal nature. However, demoniacal nature. It says, attaining repeated birth amongst the species of demoniac life, O son of Kunti, such persons can never approach me. Gradually, they sink down to the most abominable type of existence.
Yes.
And then it goes on to say that they sink to become like dogs and hogs in Prabhupada's purport. And but you said that these animals have no understanding, and do they have any chance of spiritual advancement once they have sunk so low to become animals? I know you've just spoken about this, but I'd like you to go into it a little bit more, because I'd like to think that that sometimes I have relationships with animals and I've somehow enlightened them to Krishna consciousness, or that they'll be reborn as people. And I'd like to know your thoughts on this.
So first of all, what this verse is saying is that until you have this mentality, you can never approach him. It's not saying because you have this mentality, you will never approach him. This is not the meaning. There is a very important difference between these two. I want to repeat it.
Okay.
Until you have a demoniac mentality, you cannot go back to Krishna. Okay? But you are never, but you are not going to always have this mentality. You will change. When you change, you will attain Krishna. So what happens if this person does not take profit of this human form of life, that is the life with more intelligence, and becomes an animal or vegetable or something else? Well, this is the process. When the spirit soul comes out from the human form of body, it takes the form of an animal. This animal has a number of years of life, let's say. So the soul will remain in that body for some time. Then it will die. It will leave the body, because there is no eternal body. And then it becomes, and then we'll take another body. So how we will take another body? Automatically. I want to explain this. The human form of life is the only form of life that can create karma. In other words, by our activities, we decide, quote unquote, because it's not we decide, but we earn or we deserve a certain type of body. Okay. But when we take an inferior body, what you do does not cause any karma. It's just automatic. And then through the system of bodies, because each body is a superior body, etc., we have 8,400,000 forms of life, and then without causing any other karma, it's either enjoying or suffering this, what it did in the human form of life. And then it will get to the human body again after, who knows, thousands, maybe millions of years, depends how, and then he has another opportunity. Doesn't take it up, then he fall down again. This is what happened. Yes, everybody has a new opportunity, okay? But only in human form of life you can do something about. Let me say something though, that saying that being in an inferior body, you don't have any opportunity for spiritual life, is not exact. It's not exactly what I mean. For instance, if a devotee working, chanting his japa, he chants a loud voice, you know, the trees, they take some benefit. If you have a dog and you chant Hare Krishna, the dog does not understand what you are saying, but the holy name is powerful, so he will receive a benefit. Even the ants, when you walk and you say Hare Krishna, the ants have some benefit. When you throw a prasadam outside your house, in your garden, and so many animals eat this prasadam, they will get benefit. So what benefit is not said anywhere, can be bigger benefit. It can become, it can go back to the human form of life immediately when he leaves that body. Or he can go to the upper planets. He can go to the spiritual world directly, like in the story of the dog and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. You have read the story in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. So, although the principle is that once you go in the inferior bodies, there's no way you can do it. Still, by the mercy of the great devotees, you can have some benefit, some opportunity.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj.
But Andy? And then Cassandra.
Please accept my humble obeisances. All glory to Srila Prabhupada.
Hari Bol.
I had a question. Well, I was hoping you could answer the question I had around the month that we're in. This doesn't have anything to do with what you read, but if you're able to. Right.
I was thinking actually to publish something about Kartika, but you know, these days have been very, very, very heavy for me because I really wanted to finish this book in Italian. And the devotees who corrected, he did a good job, you know, but a lot of mistakes. So I basically had to reread again the whole book 2 or 3 times, especially because from English is a strange language. You know, there is you don't understand what is feminine and what is masculine. It's the for everybody. So either there's this the is the devotee, the what, the devotee, feminine devotee. So since in this book there are personalities, he couldn't understand who is a man and who is a woman. It was basically not rewrote it, but you know. And all the other books from English had this problem. The language is not, the English language is not very literally, it's not precise. You know, Italian or Spanish is very, very clear. Él or ella, so you know who is a feminine and who is. So and then I think the best way would be that I say something now, short, but I will partially publish something tomorrow, after tomorrow at the most. But there is a huge literature about Kartika. Kartika is the period of the year where there are the dearmost pastime of the Lord. Is the best month. You can see it here also, you know, it's not cold, it's not hot, you know, and even in India, summertime is terrible in India. You have no idea how hot it is in India, you know, it never gets so hot here in the States or you know, but in India really gets really hot. So when it comes September and October, and everything becomes fresh and so beautiful, and Kartika is very, very auspicious. It's not auspicious because it's fresh, it's auspicious because Krishna loves this period of time very much. And the Govardhan Lila happened, and the Radhastami, and a lot of very, very important festivities in Kartika. So wait one day more, and you will read about Kartika.
Thank you.
Kartika is a name of Radharani. It's one of the names of Radharani. Kartika. So maybe your spiritual master will call you Kartika Das. Okay, but I think Cassandra.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All grace to Srila Prabhupada.
Hari Bol.
My first question, I have two questions. My first question is the way you were describing how we have a certain amount of years in an animal body, and you know the science of it all, and this is the way it works. Are the Vedas the only literature that has that knowledge?
Well, I read a lot in my life. I cannot say that I read all the books in the world, and I read all the books of religion, at least the religions that are known, and there is no such information. You don't get any information from those. There are books that repeat what the Vedas have said. Like, I think a few weeks ago, I was talking about Socrates, Plato, you know. Nobody knows if Socrates really ever existed, you know, but we know that there was one philosopher called Plato. Anyway, if Socrates existed, he spoke a lot about reincarnation and different types of bodies, because when I was very, very young, I read his books, and he was talking about that. But as far as I read until now, only the Vedas has this kind of information. Surely in these details, in these incredible details. I mean, if you read our books, you see that all these details. So I just finished the Radha Krishna Ganodesha Deepika, and you know Krishna, how is physically his eyes, his mouth, his nose, his hands, his house, and the river. You know, there is an unbelievable picture. You know, the gopis have different kinds of color. Like in this world, we have very few colors. We have white, we have black, we have red, some kind of white or yellow, you know, brown maybe, like that. But in the spiritual world, it's unbelievable how many different types of physical colors there are. And it's a very beautiful descriptions of what happens in the spiritual world. And we don't have any of this anywhere. And the fact that these great saints like Rupa Goswami and thousands of others have felt the need to give us all this information is astounding. Because somebody, especially at the beginning of spiritual life, may wonder, why do I need to know all these details, you know? Maybe it's not so important. But yes, in the beginning, I understand that, you know, in the beginning, you need to chant Hare Krishna, be happy, you know, eat prasadam. But in time, as you progress in spiritual life, and you become older physically and spiritually, then when you rethink to all these details that you may have read or maybe not have read, but you will start to understand why it's so important, why it's so enlivening to know what happens in the spiritual world. On the other hand, thinking about Rupa Goswami in Vrindavan, sitting under a tree and writing all these things, I wonder why, if it was not important, why he wrote it. You know, did he have time to waste? Couldn't he have done something different, or written other books more philosophical? You know, we are not this body again, over and over and over. But he spent a lot of time describing the body of Radharani, the body of Lalita and Vishaka and Champakalata, telling us his nails, or her neck, or his palm, or all these things. It's unbelievable details. So, in my point of view, this is a proof of authenticity, because we need to know if we want to have the desire to go live in a world. I want to know how this world is. Like if someone would have told me, okay, go to live in, I don't know, a city that I never went, in Kentucky. You know, go to live in Kentucky. And I said, well, okay, but you know, how is Kentucky? I want to know. I don't want to go in a place I don't know. Isn't that logical to expect someone to have the desire to know the place? Especially in this place, if you are going to live in this place forever. So this is another reason to have the necessity to know before going. Okay.
Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you, Maharaj. And just to add on a little bit to that answer, a great answer, was when the things that we are finding out, or the things we read and the knowledge we're acquiring from these really amazing details, does that go with us once we die, or do we forget about all of that once we die? Because I don't know, I'm assuming that that's spiritual, so that will go with us, or because I'm just wondering, like, will it all vanish, all of that knowledge that we read about Krishna and Radha?
Okay, a good question. Okay, sometimes, not sometimes, often, we forget what we read. We don't recall the words, okay? But I had the experience that I thought that I forgot. Then in the moment of necessity, it just comes out naturally, just pours out. Sometimes you don't even know that you knew it, especially for those who have given his life for preaching. They have, all of them, this experience of not remembering something, and then comes out. But let's say that you forget completely, death comes, and so what happens with these things? Well, the impression, both material and spiritual, they are not only words or concepts, but they are like print. Is that correct in English? That is like a print.
Yes.
Leaves. They leave some quality print in your consciousness that you don't even know that they are there. Okay, but they are there. They have some technical. They are called. I don't remember the name, but there is some specific word, adhyasa or something like that, you know. So if you have heard about Krishna so much, at the end of life, you don't remember anything, or you remember very little. Don't worry, because everything you have heard about Krishna is there in form of a print. Okay, and not only what you heard, but what you did. Sometimes a devotee, they do devotional service, and then they stop doing devotional service, and they go Sometimes they go and come back, they go and come back. We have a lot of these traveling devotees, you know, traveling between Krishna and Maya. And but exactly like information, they always stick in some corner of our mind. Anything you have done for Krishna is there. It never goes away, even if you don't know. That's why sometimes people, they take birth and after some time they meet the devotees and they become devotees immediately. And someone says, oh, why he became a devotee? Never had a problem. And the other one, he became a devotee, they were, you know, that they always are full of problems, you know, because someone had collected a lot of his devotional prints in his previous life, and another one is not. So if you don't have this kind of sankalpas, that are called those merits that comes from the previous lives, then they always have problems. Of course, when you speak about spiritual life or devotional life, it's not just what you did in your previous lives. There is also the mercy of Krishna, the mercy of the devotees. The devotees may help you in various ways, and sometimes you didn't even want to be helped. Just like when the devotees, they go in the middle of the street chanting Hare Krishna, and people do not want to hear about Krishna, but they do. And they are, because the devotees are very merciful, so the devotees will help. The devotees will help other younger devotees, even if they don't want. This is called kripa. Kripa means mercy. Oh, yes, mercy.
Thank you, Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
All right, so we have time for the last question, and then we will wind it, if there is any. Otherwise, we close now. Okay, so back to Andy.
Hare Krishna.
Haribo.
So, I was just thinking of like the word demon and just how it just strikes me as such like a harsh word. And then when Krishna was elaborating on like the qualities of a demon, I mean, I would say like, you know, I have some of those qualities, but I'm also, you know, trying to be a devotee. So where does the distinction lie between like the divine and the demoniac nature then? So like if someone has the qualities but they're still trying to practice, you know, Krishna consciousness, where is that distinction?
This is very good. Well, actually, we can translate the two words literally from Sanskrit, and you will see that the word will be lighter, will not be so heavy. Sura, means light. At the beginning, there were two types of living beings. We were talking about the beginning of creation. And then there were persons who wanted knowledge. And so they received the knowledge, and they were called Sura because they are enlightened. Asura means those who are not enlightened. They are in darkness because they did not accept knowledge. So Srila Prabhupada translated the word Asura as demon, which is a heavy word, you know, because demon means with the horns and a trident and eating babies. This is a demon. But Srila Prabhupada is an acharya. Srila Prabhupada, and his duty is to shock people, and he could do it. I would never do it personally, I don't think I have this power of shocking people without chasing them away. And Prabhupada did, you know, he spread Krishna consciousness all over the planet, using concept and criticizing everybody was very, very strong, very heavy. If I would do 100 of what he did, then nobody will come again to my conferences because I don't have that kind of. So Prabhupada used this word to shock people and to make understand very quickly using one word. And there are many words, or actually, if you take it directly from Sanskrit, doesn't really mean that. Okay, there are many, and so we, yes, Asura means in darkness.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so thank you so much. I really enjoy my Wednesday, my Thursdays with you. And to close today's conference, I just want to invite those who speak Spanish to Saturday, Bhakti Rosalie and Bhakti Rosario, they come. Sometimes I see Cassandra, she doesn't show up. Sometimes I read, I don't know if it is Cassandra or is Andy, you know, but I'm very happy when I see you, and Bhakti Yolanda also is invited. And so otherwise, see you again next Thursday. Hare Krishna and all glory to Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare Krishna.
Thank you,
Hare Krishna.
Maharaj.
very much.
Haribo.
Thank you.